What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Coming at you with another upload and yet again a perfume experience. This one is an oldie but a goodie, and I don't have a full bottle, I just have a small bottle. It is The Promise by Frederic Malle. So it is one of the four desert gems, as they are famously known as. So here we go. This is the little bottle I have of The Promise, and let's see which direction. Okay, there we go. So I'm just gonna hold it this way for purposes of a close-up, but this is what we're looking at in terms of the bottle. And yes, I got the very small one, if I can get the camera to focus on it. So here we go. And I do have a sampler of this also. And before I get into this, it's really interesting because I'm not gonna bring the sampler and talk about it here, but I will share with you my experience briefly. Is that if you ever had doubts about batch variations in terms of a scent, make no mistake, there are batch variations. So this one right here has more of this gasoline kind of quality to it that overwhelms the notes in here. The other sampler I have smells like a very boozy, fruity apple cider. And yeah, so just thought to share that with you, is that yes, batch variations can and do exist. They depend a lot on just the harvest in terms of the natural sort of ingredients used to create the notes, but sometimes also the mixing can be off. So keep in mind with that, for Promise in particular, I will say that you do get batch variations, and I just know that from experience. So what I'm gonna do is, for the purposes of this video, is walk you guys through Frederic Malle's musing, then the notes, then my own experience with this scent. So here we go. Actually, what I'll do first is, as per tradition on this channel, is grab some cafe. Wow, this is still really hot. But at least my brain wakes up a bit. Alright, so this is straight up off of the Frederic Malle website. So the description for Promise is word of honor. In the Middle East, a promise made between two people is accompanied by the strictest honor code. Frederic Malle celebrates this principle with a promise of his own, whose beating heart is made of two precious varieties of rose. Rose essence from Bulgaria and Rose Absolute from Turkey are lifted by apple, pink pepper, and clove, and bound to a sensuous base of patchouli, cypriol, and labdanum, an accord as unbreakable and invisible as a vow to trust and be trusted. Who writes these things? Anyways, in terms of top notes, it is pink pepper, rosemary oil, and apple accord. For middle notes is Bulgarian rose oil, Turkish Rose Absolute, clove oil. For base notes, it's patchouli heart, ambroxan, labdanum, and cypriol heart. Alright, and this is done by none other than Dominique Ropion. I probably butchered the name, but this is more on the, so Frederic Malle has this triangle, and I don't know, probably it won't show up on the phone. Yeah, there we go. So that's a triangle of where its perfumes sit in relation to lightness, to darkness, to warmth, to soft, crisp, and deep. And Promise sits towards the deep and dark area of the triangle. I probably would have said deep and crisp, to be honest. I don't see much of darkness to this, but hey, they say it is, so I'm not gonna argue with them. All right, and one more coffee sip. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick the scent. Now, I'll be honest with you, I had quite a bit of scents on me today, but nonetheless for this one, I can't really pick on it from the bottle, so I'm just gonna do a little spritz, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So here's the spritz, if I can just get the camera to focus on it. And if you can see, there is a bit of a oily residue there, not much, but it does have a bit of an oily residue to it. And yeah, this is, you know what, now that I smell it, considering getting a bottle. Wow, this is so nice. Okay, and definitely with this bottle, I'm getting more of this gasoline-y kind of quality to it. But I'm also getting the apple today. Wow, like I'm getting quite a bit of this nice cidery apple. And when you combine that gasoline-y quality with the cidery apple, what you get is like the apple shisha sort of quality to this scent, which is what a lot of people pick on when they first spray it, is that it smells like an apple shisha, which I don't smoke, but I've been around it, so I know what it smells like. And it does have this apple shisha scent quality to it. There's also this kind of, again, with the apple in here, it's like if you ever smelt, not necessarily rotten, but fermented apple. Okay, so if you leave an apple out for too long and it starts developing those brown sort of patches on it, it has this fermented, almost alcoholic scent to it, and you get this fermented apple cider scent in here. It's apple, but it's fermented, it's boozy, but it's not off-putting. It is really, really nice. There's also a bit of this fizzy quality to this. And I'm gonna take a hint and say it's a combination of just that fermented apple and the ambroxan, most likely. So that is definitely there. I'm just taking a look here in terms of also this sort of incensey quality. I'm gonna take a hint and say this is the property of labdanum and cypriol, most likely. In terms of things like pink pepper, rosemary oil, Bulgarian rose, Turkish rose, and clove, let's see. Wow. I'm loving this right now. It's just so good. It's just delicious. Makes me like, I know this is gonna sound weird, but I kind of want to lick my arm. I'm not gonna do that because it's super weird, but wow. Okay. Jeez. All right. I don't really smell rose in here. So it is in the middle notes. I don't necessarily smell clove, but there is a spicy quality to this, so it is probably coming from the clove. Pink pepper, I can see that there because there is again the spicy sort of peppery quality. Rosemary oil, rosemary oil, if you ever smelt it neat, as in like a pure essential oil, it is brutal. That stuff is rough. So I can't pick on it here, but collectively speaking, it possibly is there just because of, as I've mentioned earlier, this scent has this gasoline kind of quality to it, and I can see rosemary oil contributing to that. In terms of patchouli, patchouli is one of those scents that I just can't really identify. I've smelt it, I have a lot of perfumes with patchouli. I find that patchouli is very versatile. It just really blends well and adapts to the other ingredients it's mixed with. So, is there a green quality to this? Yes. Is it overwhelming and overriding? No. You get quite a bit, as I've mentioned, this The sort of main theme here is that fermented apple, and I love it. And there's an incensey quality. So think like fermented apple with gasoline quality, with incense, and overall just an apple shisha, a really nice apple shisha. This is very, very nice. It's very, man, it's nice. I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, I don't. I mean, this has been around for quite a bit, and I'm not really sure what more to say about it. I'm sure there's a lot of uploads out there on this, but just to move on, I will say that in terms of seasonality, I think you can literally wear this any season. Obviously, because of the ambroxan in it, is gonna shine more in hot weather. But I'm actually like the weather here has started getting really cold, and we've got the first snowfall, and it's doing fantastically in cold weather. So I think you can wear it any season: fall, winter, summer, spring. It will perform very well. In terms of just overall projection, trail, and sillage, I say this one isn't beast mode, but you will get compliments on it because people will pick on it. It's such a nice scent, and people can pick on it from a distance. So it's not a scent where people need to be very close to you, but they don't really need to be far off. It's somewhere middle grounds that people approach you, they'll pick on it, and it is just a gorgeous scent. Again, for me, this happens to be one of those scents that my skin eats up quickly. I've just sprayed it, and yeah, it's more or less gone. God, this apple note in here is so mouth-watering. It's like a nice cider. But yeah, in terms of just performance, I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll say it's a 5 or a 6. It's not way out there, but then again, remember, I'm giving you my performance notes based on how it reacts to my skin. So yeah, it's wow, the combination of that scent and the coffee. God, this is, you know what? I need to do this more going forward. Is just smelling a scent next to coffee. That will be a thing going forward, you know? Okay, so yeah, performance is good on this. You won't go wrong with this. This one in particular, as a boozy apple scent, is very unique compared to a lot of boozy compositions, in particular apple boozy compositions out there. I'd rate this at the top in terms of just quality of the scent and how gorgeous and adorable it is. And yes, I said adorable because there's something about it that's really playful, that's very mischievous, that's very endearing in a childlike play manner. It's kind of cute, for the lack of a better way of putting it. And I know I'm probably gonna get hate or dislikes for saying that, but it does have this kind of childlike playfulness to it, which I actually do appreciate. I'm not saying it as something that takes away from this scent. If anything, it actually adds to it. I think makes it very unique. This one in a lot of people's collections is a staple, just because of how unique it is, how well composed it is, and it's one of those scents you do not get sick of. It doesn't matter how many times you put it on, it's always a treat, it's always an experience, and you're always reaching out for it. I mean, for my bottle here, I'm pretty much 50% of the way gone in terms of usage. So, and I'm contemplating as I'm doing this right now, getting an actual full bottle, if not 100 ml, a 50 ml. But yeah, this one, you can't go wrong with it. Blind buy, you love it. Again, just be careful with the batch because yes, there are batch variations from my own personal experience. Again, regardless of the batch variation, it's not a bad scent at all. Whether you get more on the sort of gassy quality or more on the apple quality, you're gonna enjoy it regardless. And yeah, it's a staple out there. Now, in terms of my preference for it, with respect to all four desert gems, so I do have the moon, I have the dawn, and I have this. I've never smelled the night before. I do have a bottle of it that unfortunately is sitting in a US mail forwarding box and I cannot ship. So until I make a trip to the US, have it shipped to my whatever US address I'm at, it's sitting in that mailbox. Which sucks because I did not know that there are certain scent ingredients that you cannot ship by air or even ground because of volatility and the risk of it. So unfortunately, I haven't gotten my nose on that yet. But between the dawn, the moon, and promise, I'll say promise for me is second place, and that could change between promise and the dawn. Moon is number one for me. I mean, that scent is just mouth-wateringly, lusciously delicious. You cannot go wrong with the moon. Neither can you with dawn or promise, but the moon is just in a different league of its own. But I digress. In terms of promise, blind buy, you won't go wrong with it. You do need it in your collection in terms of an apple note, just because of how gorgeous and delicious and luscious and just mouth-watering it is. It is a beautiful scent and you can't go wrong with it. And yeah, highly recommend if you don't have it, get on it in terms of your nose or your wallet to cop yourself a bottle. And it's not that expensive, relatively speaking, to a lot of the other Frederic Malles, as well as just other scents from other designers that are of the same sort of caliber and note. So yeah, get on it, enjoy it. Let me know what your experience with it has been in the comments. In particular, if you have experienced any batch differences, let me know from your perspective which batch is the best right here down in the comments. But with that said, this will be it for this upload. I really do appreciate your time and attention, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next upload. Cheers.